And maybe you've noticed, when you argue with yourself, it feels like a storm inside, doesn't it? One voice pulls left. Quit the job. Another voice pulls right. But you need money. And you forget, storms aren't enemies. They're pressure systems redistributing energy across the planet. Without storms, the earth stagnates. Without arguments, you stagnate. And isn't it funny? The moment you collapse the storm, when you find that third option, a new job, a side hustle, a perspective shift, suddenly the storm wasn't a threat. It was a recalibration. And when your unconscious realizes this, really realizes this, you begin to see that every conflict is an unfinished puzzle, begging for integration. Because your nervous system, your arguments, your fights, your reconciliations, they're not isolated. They're civilization in miniature. Think of humanity itself, wars, revolutions, protests. They look like chaos close up, but zoom out, and you can almost see it, can't you? A higher ordered geometry, trying to self-correct. Just as your neurons fire and misfire until they balance. Humanity fights and collapses and rebuilds until integration occurs. And here's the kicker. You're not separate from this process. You're civilization, learning to self-correct. So when you integrate, you're in a polarity. When you laugh instead of fight. When you accept instead of resist. You're literally fractaling up. You're participating in the self-healing of the species. Now, imagine the consequences if you don't. Play it forward. Keep resisting. Keep labeling polarity as conflict instead of circuit. What happens? You burn out. You argue with ghosts. You snap like a bridge under imbalance. You waste decades bleeding energy into indecision. And the civilization inside you collapses. Just as societies that resist integration collapse under their own weight. But imagine the opposite. You choose to integrate. You choose to laugh, to connect, to balance the stress instead of resist it. Your body recalibrates, cortisol drops, serotonin rises. Your relationships shift. Arguments collapse into intimacy. Your creativity explodes. Freed energy redirects into building instead of battling. And all of this compounds. 1 year from now, you're calmer. 5 years from now, you're leading. 10 years from now, you've built a life that feels effortless because every polarity became electricity. And some part of you may already be wondering what it's like to live as the light bulb instead of the sparking wires. To be the bridge that bends but doesn't break. To be the storm that clears the skies instead of fearing the thunder. Because the unconscious knows acceptance is not weakness. It's load balancing. Polarity is not conflict. It's the circuit that powers everything. Integration is not giving in, it's levelling up. And when you realise this deeply, consciously or unconsciously, doesn't it make sense to start using every conflict as free electricity? Picture tomorrow you're triggered. Partner snaps at you. Old pattern says, fight. New pattern, you laugh. Nervous system remembers unity. Picture next week at work. You're torn between staying and leaving. Old pattern. Loop endlessly. New pattern, integrate polarity. Find the third option. Picture a year from now, stress redistributed, energy multiplied. Your nervous system not only surviving, but running like a clean, balanced circuit. And as you imagine this, doesn't your body already know how good it feels? Because you've tasted it before. In those rare moments, you laughed instead of fought, or chose balance instead of collapse. Your nervous system has a memory of integration, and it will repeat it more often, easily, automatically, naturally. And as you hear this, you can allow yourself to remember every conflict as fuel. Accept tension as potential energy. Integrate polarity until it becomes power. Install the belief that acceptance is strength, polarity is power, and integration is freedom. And the more you accept this unconsciously, the more effortless it becomes to live consciously. So here's the deal. You can keep being the sparkling wires, dangerous, chaotic, wasting energy. Or you can tape the circuit, light the bulb, and power the house. You can keep being the bridge that snaps under imbalance. Or you can be the bridge that bends, redistributes, and carries armies safely across. You can keep being the storm that terrifies villages. Or you can be the storm that waters the crops and clears the sky. Either way, polarity exists. Only one choice turns it to power. And as that realization lands deeper and deeper in your unconscious right now, you already know which choice you've made.